God bless. You know what time it is. It's time for Sisters Addressing Trauma right here on Inspire Podcast 210. I'm in front of the church and about to make my way in. Hey, tune part 2, A Myth of a Strong Black Woman. God bless you, family. Hey, people, it's Inspire Podcast 210. Hey, good morning. Good morning. Welcome once again to Sisters Addressing Trauma. Hi, I'm First Lady Di Gloria Blair, Lady Di. All right, here to my right is Lady Tammy.
I got a lady now.
Yes.
Sure.
I know, because last week you were doctor. So this week,
I'll be lady.
Yeah, I'll let you be a lady today.
I hate to see what the next time I be.
And our magnificent queen, Miss Joni Wilson, who's back, hallelujah, for part 2 of The Myth of a Strong Black Woman. On last week's podcast, we just touched on a few things of background about our ancestors and how Black women have been stereotyped, where it all started. And on this part 2, we're going to pick up on the
different types that we are labeled as.
Amen. So come on in, Dr. Joni, girl. Tell us, girl, what's going on? How's your day?
Well, first of all, I'm not a doctor.
Oh, okay.
See, we already called it out.
I get that a lot. I really do.
I beg to differ, because you're healing some people today. I tell you, you're healing some people, doctor. Okay.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me to be on your podcast. I really appreciate this. And I've always wanted to kind of just get this word out. I mean, the more we talk about and not live and suffer in silence, the better off Black women are going to be. And so it's platforms like you that have, invited me to talk about this, that I just want you to know I really, really do appreciate you both. And I appreciate your comments that you interject. I think it's really good to have a discussion about this. So I really do appreciate you both. A little bit of background of what we talked about before. We talked about historical trauma and how that affects one generation to the next. We talked about sexual Black politics, especially when it comes to Black women, and how we have been stereotyped starting from slavery, how we've been stereotyped as these tropes that we're going to talk about today. And then we talked about a little bit about strong Black woman is a social construct. It's something that has been made up, and that we have continued to follow this in the worst way. And how we've also had like a cultural commitment to our Black communities to kind of take on this myth. And hopefully today we'll break some more chains. Amen. About how we have to do those things. We don't have to do those things, because when we do and neglect ourselves, we are setting ourselves up for all kind of things, as far as like a breakdown of, mentally, physically, and emotionally.
Most definitely.
Yes. So today I want to talk a little bit about the tropes of the Black woman. And so when I say trope, that means this figuratively image that people have given us.
Right,
so
right.
That's what that means, is that it's something that has actually been made up, but it's like we have fell in line with it, but it's not really true. So, okay. So you can go on to the next slide.
Okay, so with that being said, what the young people call it, labels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good way of looking at it as well. So the first one I want to talk about is Jezebel. And I know y'all have heard about the Jezebel in the Bible, and how she adorned herself, and, she was seductive. And so that is one of the myths about Black women. And really, when we look at it historically, it started during slavery, or when Black women were captured, or African women were captured in West Africa and other places, where they saw Black women or African women without clothes on. Maybe their breasts were out and they just, had something around their waist, or and it was because of the climate
Right,
that
right.
so when whites looked at that, because they came from a culture of women, they were, they had a whole bunch of clothes on.
I'm talking about a whole bunch of
Yeah, all the
petticoats
way
and
down.
corsets and butt in your
Yeah,
neck.
and you're right. And I don't know if y'all know this, but a lot of women, because I've done history about the antebellum South, white women would also pass out because of all the clothes and the
Oh wow.
restraints that was put on them. Even if we go back further, there's chastity belts, there's corsets, there's all kinds of things that
Yes,
was
that
constrained white women. So when these white men saw these our beautiful African ancestors, they thought, oh, so they're, sexually unrestrained.
Yes,
So,
yes.
but it is a way also to sexually exploitation, I should say, exploitation of Black women. It was a way sexually to do that, to exploit us and to
and just
subject us to sexual terrorism and also victimization of Black women.
Wow. What were you going to
This,
say about the corsets?
I just wanted to say, when y'all guys was talking about the style of clothes, did you know, FYI, that the what's that they put up under their the hoops they used to put in under their
Mhm,
dresses to make them wide? Did
mhm.
you know that those was designed to have a behind like Black women?
Yes, absolutely.
And that,
Shut the front door.
yes, it was surprising to hear that, and they model it off of her, off the lady
Yes.
we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, that was designed for that reason.
Oh
Yes.
my
Okay.
goodness.
I was so anxious because I'm going, oh yeah, that's one of them.
Yes. Yeah. It's we're often imitated, but you
Yeah,
can't duplicate us.
Come
right.
on now.
And the most invisible
Hey.
ones on the planet.
Yes.
As you just
Yes.
said, the most hated too, right?
Yes, you
Yes.
got it, Buckaroo.
So this was also an image to use to justify having, these sexual relations with enslaved women. So, it was a way that white men can exploit women, have sex with them, but also to breed Black women with other African men. So this was a justification of it. So some of the characteristics that they said African women had, that they were seductive and they were manipulative, right? And they had hypersexuality and they were unrapeable. So listen to that word, unrapeable.
Unrapeable.
Yeah. So there was a justification of having sex with them because, and even if it's forced, but we know most of the time it was forced. Well, we were
It was your
unrapeable,
fault. It was your fault.
right? And animalistic, and unable to control sexual drives, promiscuous, loose, immoral. See, so these are some of the words of the Jezebel image that has really, when we look at it, you still see it in modern day. When we look at our videos, especially hip hop videos, and
Oh
how
my God, especially.
yes, so you'll see it in images of even in TV, of how, Jezebel image, that we're always trying to manipulate to get what we want, and that's sex. So these images, like I said, can be found in hip hop culture and in music videos.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. They have really exploited even more so. Like the more the younger the culture or
Yeah.
the kids now, I mean the people nowadays, I'm not gonna just say the kids, but the people nowadays, like it has become acceptable and we have gotten comfortable in that image and not really even understanding or probably not even done the research of something that we really need to be trying to break and recategorize, if I'm saying the words correctly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Because the
yeah,
way
because
it's detrimental to us for real. And like I said last time we spoke, what they did to us back then, to bring us here to this country to show our bodies, examine us and everything else, and put us on display back then. not by our choice, but now when you see the images of the women on the, in the strip clubs, and like you said, in the videos, and on now on TV, doing the evenings and stuff like that, even in video games, with Grand Theft Auto and all of that, the image of that woman has permeated in so many different directions now. It's like that's who they are, that's what they do, and not realizing they feeding into that stereotype even more so,
So can I ask you a question? Like they what I see, I gotta keep saying they, but what I see is, even if you have graduated college, you still have that image that you project of yourself as this twerker. Does that take away from your degree to a certain point? Does that take away respect for them to a certain point? I mean, they're still manipulating and using it for an advantage to get an edge. Well, I'm on the pole because I'm paying for college.
Hey, it's like,
I mean, help me. Am I wrong for thinking in that way? Or?
Well, and that is because a lot of people are walking around and not knowing the history or of historical trauma, of the trauma where it originated from.
Historical trauma.
But I gotta go I had to challenge that. Some do know the history and do it anyway, and this is what they say: it had nothing to do with me. That was back in the day. I don't have no, that doesn't apply to me.
Right. And it's because they don't understand the connection.
Right.
Of how
wow.
That's
it right there. That's
right. They don't understand the connection a lot of times, or don't care to understand the connection.
Don't care to understand,
right.
Because that makes them accountable for what they are doing, and they have to take responsibility on the fact that they still feeding into something that is so negative against them, and no matter how they try to make it seem like it's acceptable, it really isn't acceptable.
Right. And I will have to say that the institutions have derived that, have made it like that, especially when you look at education, where a lot of times we're not educated on our history. We might hear a little bit about it, but it is meant to be that way.
That's
to
it. That's
keep
all
us in bondage, to keep us to think that, to have like a self-hatred of ourselves. It is meant and designed that way when we look at institutions such as the educational system.
Yes.
Because I guarantee you, I did not learn any of this stuff with my high school education or my elementary or my middle school or junior high education. I learned this by doing my own research.
Yeah, they put the pretty people out front. Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks. They didn't put the young lady that we're about to talk about. That what's her name? That they had took up to use her picture.
Yeah, Sarah Bartlett.
Sarah Bartlett. Yeah, they don't talk about her. Know. No, they don't talk about that.
No, not to the degree of which we're talking about her now. They still use her as that. This is how they still see Black women, and it's not just in this country. That's across the world.
There is an anti-Blackness across the United States and across the world. When you think of our dark bodies and things of that nature and how they were used, it wasn't just in the United States. When we look at Brazil, we look at Portugal, and we look at the Caribbean. All of these are places where the African diaspora is, where we were distributed. And then all of a sudden, after we get there, then all of a sudden we're the bad people, or we're the ones that are subjected to things that are unnatural because of there's an anti-Blackness. And it's all to really to keep us in our places, so to speak.
Wow. That's good.
Yeah. Okay, so we can go to the next one. So the sapphire trope, which we talked a little bit about, the angry Black woman. How many of y'all heard that word, angry Black woman?
How many been called that?
Yeah, you just mad. Why are you so angry all the time?
And the reason why, that's another way of using a stereotype. Well, you know, a lot of times Black women do have things to be angry about, but it's any time that you decide that you want to speak up, it's a way of subjecting you to be quiet.
Shut the front door.
Yep. Anytime you try to stand up or speak on, the treatment or what you feel is not right, they come back with they play that card. Oh, you just mad. You always angry. Why why you have to be like that?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah, absolutely. And so that is another stereotype. And you'll see this a lot in reality shows. You know, you'll see these people that are overbearing and aggressive and they're hyper violent. For example, look at Love and Hip Hop. How many of y'all seen Love and Hip Hop?
Yeah, I do hear Love and Hip Hop
Wives?
Atlanta. I do Love and Hip Hop Atlanta.
Yeah.
yeah,
And how
Housewives of Atlanta. Now they got one for Detroit.
and how are Black women portrayed?
They are beautiful,
Rich,
and very aggressive, angry, selfish,
hyper,
manipulative,
manipulative.
and single.
Right. And so the problem with that, if somebody who doesn't have any access to Black culture, for example, or no Black women, or don't associate, they will think that's the way all Black women act.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Or I get it from my grandmother.
But you know what? To be honest, there's a lot of things for Black women to be angry about.
Right.
You know, one of the things I talk a lot about is how there is 64,000 to 75,000 Black women and girls who are missing in the United States as we speak.
Wow.
And nothing is being done about it.
Not even spoke upon. And
yes.
I just need to do a side note, speaking to what you just said, and this young lady just made that same thing you just said worse for us today when she faked her disappearance.
Oh, the young lady in Alabama.
And
Yes.
and what she did for trying to get attention from her ex-boyfriend. She has messed it up for a lot of women, like you said now, who would say, I've been raped, I've been kidnapped, I'm abused, because the only thing they're gonna see is or hear is that young lady, and then say, you lying.
Wow.
Yes.
We don't believe you. And
Right.
and the abuse and the kidnapping and the killing of Black women continues on.
Yes. Well, why do you think it was easy for her to do that?
Because of how people look at her, how they view us now.
And then how she doesn't know the historical trauma that has gone on around Black women, even if she's educated.
Yes,
Like I said, even when you go to college, you don't learn this history unless you are specializing. Like for me, even when I specialize in history, this was not taught to me. So there's the lack of education in our communities that it was easy for her to do that because she is thinking individually about herself.
Yes.
And how it affects her community.
Right. And that's all she was looking at was self, the immediate gratification of self. And I think not just, the lack of education, because see, I think back in our grandparents and parents' days, they would share the stories, the untold stories or the untold teachings that we don't have today like we did back then. Aunt Sue used to tell us about the girl, let me tell you what happened to me, or these things took place, or don't do this or don't do that. And with this me attitude today, and you can't tell me nothing attitude, it seems like they have to learn by experience. And even in the past few days, I have heard, I don't want to be around these young people because they don't want to do this and they don't want to do. No, we have to talk and share those stories, because those things that's untold to us or we are not telling, those are the things that got us to where we at today.
Yeah.
And,
Absolutely.
and because we are not telling those stories the way, what they call them, when they used to sit around before TV was invented, where
oral history.
the oral history.
Yeah.
We don't have that now. And the oral history that we are passing on now is negative, and it's like, this is what you do to get over on somebody, not how to help the wholeness of everybody today.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, when you're talking about that. So we came from a communal type
That's what
environment.
I was getting ready to say.
Right.
That's what I was getting ready.
That has passed down from slave. What were you going to say?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, I was going to say that's what I wanted to speak about. Like when
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
like
ahead.
Emmett Till came up missing, or somebody from the plantation came up missing. Everybody came together. Everybody came together in that community to go look for them. They didn't have the privilege of social media, but they took things into their own hands to go and find out what happened to this child, and like when I was growing up, and I believe that like when it really just like intensified in my perception is like when crack came out. Crack came out, that wiped out the whole generation of things that got passed down. Family reunions and things like that. They're so far and few now, it's hard to even get the family together to do that, where you would sit in the kitchen and learn how to cook with your auntie, and they would sit down and tell
them stories
about our culture and our history, and to see all the lives and bloodshed, to have the freedom and to just see it being misused and abused in a way. But there is, like they said about Jezebel, there's still a remnant that has not bowed down to the white projection of Black people, that are still, thank God for people like Miss Joni and the other generation of Black kids that are being empowered to want to know and get this out to the community about because the devil uses what we don't know against us.
Yes. I love what you're saying. I love what you're saying. And one of the things that I just came to mind is that we have to remember that we're fighting against not just, it's not just flesh and blood. It's the spirits. And one of the things that happened in our Black community, there was intentionally mechanism that was set into our community to divide us. And I'm going to give you an example. So when welfare came in,
she up there, ain't she? Ain't she a trope?
Well, welfare, when it came in, as a means of trying to help the Black community, well, welfare came in. What they did, they said that you couldn't have a father, a man in your household.
My God.
Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Yes, ma'am. That is a means of dividing our family. In order to get the money and to get the help, the man had to leave.
Wow.
Because maybe they were figuring it's going to be too much income or whatever. They use a justification. But that is a means of breaking down our family.
Wow.
Well,
another example I'm going to give you is that Black folks didn't at that particular time when crack came in, didn't know about how to manufacture that or to bring it in the community. That was intentional.
And it was shown on TV on how it was when Reagan was in office. And I can't remember his name. I know it I see his face, but I can't say his name until I go home and I'm no longer thinking of this. But on the welfare situation, it was designed to help white folks. But at the time, when they brought it out, they saw and seen how they can utilize it to destroy the family. And a good example, if anyone wants to look at this, is to look at Claudine. Claudine depicted that whole scenario on what it was like to live on welfare and try to have a relationship and being a single parent back then, and what she had to go through in order to keep the money coming through, and the humiliation of stripping her of her dignity and the pride she had in doing what she was doing. So that's one. But on the current one, I told you the other day, watch on Netflix, they clone Tyrone. It also speaks on what we're talking about right now. It's used as humor, but when you really look at the messages, what's being said in that, and how it's depicting the community, you get to see all those things we've been saying for many years, especially since the 60s, how it has played itself out. And now it's like doing the Underground Railroad kind of thing. We have our way to communicate right now. We might not say it out the way we are saying it now, as they say, we woke now. So we communicate in the way they used to do back then, using certain words and language, so we can be able to communicate to each other on what's being done to us and how to stick together, because we are recognizing that. Wow. And we are building on that. But I mean, that's how I see. This is Tammy's opinion, or as she said, TIB version.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So absolutely. There's been mechanisms that's been put in place to divide, and it's always been that way. From start, if we talk about slavery and how we were allowed to even read, that was a way to kind of keep us subjected. But as we look at our history, we have always been resilient and overcomers. Regardless of what's out there, we have circumvented ways to really to be able to help ourselves. But there's a generation that we have now that really sometimes don't understand the struggle that our forefathers, our ancestors went through. And so that's why I usually start my presentations giving honor to our ancestors, because we would not be here if it wasn't for their struggle.
And I truly appreciate you doing that, because I really see what you're saying, especially when you showed it from the water at the ocean. That image is sticking with me. So I truly thank you for that.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, we're going to go on because this has been getting good.
I know, right?
So this is the Mammy image. The Mammy image. How many of y'all heard the Mammy image?
Yeah.
The Mammy image is, it started during slavery. And the image was, now this is the image of somebody that's dark skinned and worked in the master's house. And the nanny was often the housekeeper and the cook, and was expected to care for everyone else and neglect herself. So that's where this stereotype comes in, where we're supposed to take care of everybody else. And that was in back then, that was including her family.
Yes, I was just getting ready to say that.
It was including her family, and that she was non-threatening, she was nurturing, but she had a selfless devotion to others. Okay, so this is a little quote here from a book that kind of explains what they felt the Mammy image looks like. She's Black in color, as well as race, and fat and enormous, with enormous breasts that were full enough to just nourish all the children in the world. We know that's not true. Her head was perpetually covered with the trademark kerchief to hide her kinky hair that masked her as ugly. She's tied to her physical appearance or physical characteristics and her personality traits. She is strong, for she certainly have enough girth but the strength is used in the service of her white master as a way of keeping her male counterparts at check. She is kind and loyal, so she is a mother, and she is sexless, excuse me. So that is what they say the image of a mammy image looks like, but that's not true. And that's especially the part where it's saying that, oh, she didn't have any sex or whatever. That was a justification for the plantation owner to have sex with her. And she did indeed would do nurse white children as far as giving them breast milk. She did indeed do that.
Yep.
But
her purpose.
Excuse me?
I was telling her that was her purpose at that time, to feed.
Yes.
Like you said, to have ample breast. Well, that's what she had, ample breast.
So are you telling me that in those days
she had to breastfeed her?
The black woman breastfed the white babies?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And had her baby on one and had the white baby on the other.
My God, the resilience. I can't imagine that mentally. I can't imagine that mentally. The mental anguish in that.
Yes, absolutely.
And they wonder why we mad. I got everybody acting like I'm Elsie. Acting like I'm Elsie.
Wait a minute. But you see who she holding though.
Yeah.
She ain't holding her.
Yeah,
I mean, like you said, she was expected not only to take care of the master's family, but her family at the same time. And then if you want to add more to it, if one of the slaves was killed or taken away and the family, she was expected to take care of that family as well. You know,
on top of,
matter of fact, soul food.
Okay.
I'm sorry, my bad.
But on top of that, I mean, not even. I mean, just not only that, but even as to worry about her sons, her daughters getting raped.
She had to take on all of that.
All of that. Worrying about if the husband was gonna get sold or sent off or beaten or come home beaten.
Right. She had
and that also goes back.
We have time to even sleep.
Yeah, and it also goes back to the commodity of a Black woman, and as being a woman who it was looked at as an investment, because she was the one that birthed the children. So yes, she got beat, but if she got beat, there's an example in oral history where they would cover her or to hide her stomach if she was so she was pregnant, right? Yeah. And so if she was on the ground, sometimes they would dig holes to put her stomach there to make sure that they don't harm the baby while she's getting beaten and stuff.
They done created the way.
So it was really, they were looked at as an investment, especially Black women, because they could breed Black women, you know, with other Black males. And they even looked at the body parts of, is this man real healthy and this woman look healthy, and she has broad shoulders and things, let's put them together. Just like they would.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I say like cattle.
Yeah, like cattle. It was called chattel slavery.
Oh my
So
God.
that's the difference between when you hear people say, well, y'all were enslaving each other anyway. There's a difference, because chattel slavery was passed on to the next generation, to the next generation. There was ever no freedom. Whereas when Africans enslaved each other, it was mainly because of war, and there was an end to the slavery.
And it was other things that came along with once they were free. They had they was given provisions in order to live that life that, you know, they can live the best lives. They educated them and everything else. So yes.
Yeah. So there's a difference between, and you may hear a lot about slavery being the worst as far as chattel slavery, because there was no end in sight. None whatsoever. And your grandmother was a slave, then your great grandmother or whoever, your mother was going to be a slave. It was no end in sight.
Wow, a cycle.
And then another thing is that a lot of times slaves were given to other people as gifts. It was used as like money too. like if you didn't have enough money and you want to give, well, I'll take some slaves off your hands. It was used as a way of giving out money if you owe money and stuff. And not to get, I can go really deep with this.
I was gonna say you touching on subject right now, because the Constitution was based on that three-fourths of a man. That's just what you're talking about. Was that's how that came about, because of the value to devalue the black man, because that's how they gained power in government. Those who had the most slaves was the ones who made the laws and things like that. So
absolutely,
it's a whole lot of stuff that comes with, if you really, like you said, just goes deeper down the rabbit hole, because of our laws and things that's being done today is based on back then, and as Chappelle said, it's stewed to perfection now.
Yes,
because they learned how to manipulate it to their ways.
Yes, and I was going to add a little bit more deeper with this. Go a little bit more deeper.
Come on.
When they had slaves, they also had insurance on their slaves.
Oh, now you wrong on that one. So
then some of those insurance companies are still in existence today.
Well, let me just put a bonnet in this one then. Did you know your Social Security, the Merriman Law is the one that how slavery came about was because of that Valentine's Day. And it's gory, but I'm just gonna say when Queen Elizabeth they went out on her ships and they were supposed to come back and with money, and the slaves died along the way. Well, she got to the point saying, well, I'm losing money on this. So if we lose a slave, you cut the heart out and bring it back so I can count it so I can get my money's worth because of the insurance that was on that slave. So anytime y'all get a box of Valentine chocolate, y'all just think of that.
You gave a whole new meaning to Valentine's now.
I
don't want nothing to write you.
I haven't heard.
I want Valentine's Day.
But definitely had insurance on their slaves.
Wow.
You think about that.
They were losing money, and when those slaves would jump overboard and stuff, that was pissing her off. And that's where it came in. And I'm sorry. Yeah. I messed up somebody's Swedish day.
Well, it's good to know our history.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
really is.
So
let's go to the next slide. So let's talk about the expectations of Black women.
Girl, tell me what they expect. What
they expect, and so going back to this, we talked about the mammy image. Is that Black women are constantly are to provide service, emotional labor to everyone with a smile, and that continues to persist to this day.
You better say it like you mean it. I'm supposed to sit here and take this unfair treatment and smile. Because if I say anything other than that, I become Jezebel. Because I want to speak up.
or the angry black woman.
Come on now,
Right. And corporate America is truly what they use that expectation the most. So
and multi-purpose caretakers, as roles as guidance counselors and nannies and therapists. So that is some expectations that are to this day, and I can truly say that me working in education, working at Texas State University, that was some of the expectation that you're not supposed to have a bad day because you have to listen to everybody else's stuff and not your own.
Look, I don't stay in the master's house no more.
All right. But it's definitely those expectations.
That's what they expect for us to do. That's the expectation.
So I'm not the house Black person no more.
So
I don't use that other word, but I ain't her no more.
Okay.
And just working in higher ed, and I've been around other professionals, and I actually went to this conference one time. It was nothing but Black women, and they were professors, they were educators, and they were saying they are still relegated to this type of service, and how tired they were. Because it's not just I'm doing my job description, I'm doing other things, and especially when we think about our Black children, our Black kids who are going to college and need sometimes that guidance, and that maybe they didn't get some things at home, and there's that expectation that you're going to take on that as well. And it's not just our Black kids, it's white folks coming and asking for advice and things of this nature. So it's not just your job description. And you'll find that, like I said, in corporate America, everywhere.
Higher ed, if you can go
Higher ed, everywhere, even if you
work
were
at
just a
McDonald's.
service worker.
If
Yes.
If you a Black woman at McDonald's, it's expected of you there too, because that's just the way that it's just embedded into the system. And I have a question. So with that being said, is that where the myth of a strong Black woman has came out of that seed, what you just said?
Yes, and that's all the history I'm telling you has led us to this, especially the mammy image. Yes.
Yeah, that's a big
and it is a myth because, like I was saying, we're expected to hold it all in and just have a smile on your face. But what comes with that is that you holding all this in about how you're feeling, how exhausted you are, how you're giving out and not, giving, taking care of yourself or having any type of self-compassion or whatever. You're holding all this in, and it ends up in heart disease, heart problems. It ends up in high blood pressure. It ends up in, even when you start talking about the lymphatic diseases such as lupus, all of these things,
migraine, headaches, all of that,
all of this stuff,
everything. Yeah, I mean,
it's coming from holding that in, trying to be strong and not being vulnerable and saying, "Hey, I'm tired, but I got to take care of my cousin, but I have to take care of everybody else, but not taking care of yourself." So this is where this myth, because we have taken on that persona that we are strong, we are vulnerable, we may have it all together on the outside, have our hair done and, our nails done and, our toes done and stuff, and dying inside. So in my family, I will say this, in my family, because that myth has gone on, in my family, I've had so many people to die prematurely, including my mother at 63.
Wow.
My aunt died at 53. I have a sister that passed away at 54. I had another one to pass away at 50. So this is one of the reasons why I'm out there talking about this. It is a myth that we do break down.
And it's okay. And it's
okay.
It's okay. That's the part that we have to get into our spirit, into our gut. It's okay because God told us in our moments of weakness,
He is our
strength. He is our strength. What people fail to realize, what that's also is the God in me. What you don't know is when I get home and get behind closed doors, man, I hit the floor. And what you can't see is I'm on my knees. It's the God make it look good. I'm talking for me. And multitasking, a women's home, grandkids, my husband, just other people's problems,
family members,
man, family members. You understand? And girl, you just know what you don't know. What you don't know,
or what you don't see.
God is behind the scene because I know, and I'm learning that God said He prepares the table. He prepared the table. Yeah, I'm gonna let Him make my plate. And what's on my plate?
I'm gonna eat from.
It's what God wants me to eat. Just because I'm in the buffet of life don't mean that, let me take that on. And this look like something I can handle. And before you know it, I got a plate full of stuff that was not God designed. And here I am stressed out.
And trying.
There you go.
You understand?
You better preach that. Huh? You better preach it.
No, It's okay. No, this got too many calories. What that mean? That mean, girl, you got too much baggage for me. I'm gonna give you this, and then you got people that study want to suck from you, but don't want the advice, but just want to just keep coming to you with the same thing. You understand? No, girl, you ain't got it like that.
But you know, one of the kids' stories from way back then is Chicken Little.
Yeah, what about Chicken Little?
Chicken Little was the one who everybody kept saying that. Oh, well, I said Chicken Little, but it's this one story where the everybody kept saying, I'm hungry, and the chicken said, you know what? I think I make some bread, and everybody, oh, that sounds so good. And so the little chickens kept saying, well, let me go out here and let's all get together and let's cook this bread together. Well, you know, I got this to do and I got that to do and I got this. And the chicken said, okay, and go out there and just get everything, put the bread together, and it get to smelling good. And then people want to come. And as soon as the bread get done, everybody want to participate in it. And don't think about that little chicken that was cooking and ate the bread, and the chicken didn't even get none.
Yeah.
Because she took care of everybody else, but didn't feed herself. And that's how I see us. We need to stop that and be able to be okay to say, you know what, I'm making this loaf of bread for me today. I love you. However, I got to do this for me.
Look, baby, look, I've come to realize that just even in yesterday, I've been, to God be the glory for allowing me to be a vessel. I've been going 3 weeks straight, driving back and forth to Dallas. Got to leave. I was supposed to leave today, but I had my pre-record. You hear me? So therefore, I say, okay, I'll just leave tomorrow by myself. But you know what I did? Yesterday, I didn't answer the phone. I'd have sat in the bed and watched me some TCM black and white movies all day because come on, somebody, because I knew what I was about to partake in.
Yes.
And if we don't do it, because you can't get water from a dry well.
Look, if I ain't here to be able to help the people, if I don't realize that I have to have my own time because my time is spread out amongst others. You understand? Because of the service. And I didn't see all this when I said yes to this man named Jesus.
Wait, don't blame that on Jesus.
I didn't know the thing that it entailed.
Don't do that.
Was self-care.
He said,
"Come on, somebody."
He said that, hey, you gonna.
He didn't give me no more than what I could bear. Okay, I can't bear no more, so it's okay for me to say that today.
When you come to me, he said, when you come to me, they ain't gonna tell you it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be easy. Matter of fact, you gonna face me.
I'm learning that.
It's just the way it looks now.
Yeah, but you know, to God be the glory that I have to acknowledge him and thank God for my relationship with him that empowers me to do what I can't do on my own.
And see, those are the stories that our ancestors used to say to us or to their children or their children's children. They used to tell us to strengthen us when they go, well, why are we in this situation, or why God allows this to happen? Now we are able to tell the story on how he emboldens us and strengthens us in our moment of weakness, and how he said we are not an island unto our own. That means we have to come to one another and talk about it and be willing to talk, be willing to hear the person who you think, that strong, mighty woman standing before you, that strong, mighty woman. And I know I'm capable of that. Oh, how you doing? I'm good. How's it? I'm good.
Blessed and highly favored.
I'm good. You know, what's going on? Oh, nothing's going on. I'm all right. And then when that time I really need to talk, ain't nobody there, because I have set the condition up that everybody's looking at me for my strength. But only thing I can do is look to him.
That's it. And understand that for us to be looked at in that perspective, they have to understand that we became vulnerable. We were willing to be vulnerable. See, nobody wants to be vulnerable anymore to things. You understand? Because that makes you look weak. It's okay to be weak today. And I just want to put that out there for every black woman, every white woman, every woman, period. It's okay to be weak.
Because the strength is
My
not in
God.
us.
My God.
It's in him.
Okay,
Amen.
We sorry. We sorry.
That's
We
okay.
sorry.
That's okay.
Mm.
I know we don't have a lot of time left, but
Go ahead and finish up. We'll be
I-
quiet.
I did want to at this time talk about my testimony,
Come
because I
on.
think it's important
Yes, ma'am.
for people to know why I'm so adamant about talking about the myth of the strong Black woman. When I was in my 40s, I was probably about 43 when this happened to me. I was the type of woman that was taking care of everybody else. You know, at one time I took care of a whole another family, my sister's family and her grandkids. I was ripping and running, trying to do everything for everybody else in my family. When something happened, everybody called me, and I'm not even the oldest in my family. I'm the third child. But when my sister got sick, she's my second sister. She got sick. I was cooking for her, trying to take care of her, and she had a heart problem or whatever. So this has been something that had been passed down to me as the rescuer in my family. I was
Wow.
rescuing
Wow.
everyone. However, when it came to me, I knew I had high blood pressure, but I wasn't taking my medication like I should, because I'm so busy trying to give people money, taking care of everybody, and inside my family, outside my family. And so one day I was in bed and I woke up a different way.
Mm.
I didn't even know that I had a massive stroke. And when I say massive stroke, I mean, I eventually, after 3 days, I could not walk. I couldn't write. I could not feed myself. I couldn't drive. I couldn't do anything to take care of myself at all. And I remember when I went to rehab, I had to go to inpatient rehab, and I was in there. I was first in the hospital 3 weeks.
My
And
God.
then I was in inpatient rehab another 3 weeks. And this epiphany came because this is what was happening. All the people that I had helped, not one of them, and I mean one, came to see me. They didn't check on me. They didn't call me. They didn't do anything. And that's when I understood that if I don't take care of myself, nobody else is going to do it.
Come on now.
I am so
And even after I got out of inpatient rehab, I had 3 months of physical therapy. 3 months of physical therapy. I'm learning how to even just walk up a curve, without falling. This is serious when I start talking about this myth of the strong Black woman. I had to be invincible. I had to take care of everybody else. I had to listen to everybody else's issues, but I was not taking care of myself. And like I said, it took me a long time to get where I am right now. I still have issues where I have to make sure I get my rest. But it taught me something at that particular time. It taught me something. In my 40s, having a stroke, a massive stroke. Come on now. Nobody should be going through that.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Nobody should endure something like that.
No, you should not.
Nobody. And that's why I'm always talking about self-care. I'm always talking about taking care of myself and taking care of yourself. It is so important as Black women because there's that expectation that was given to me as a child.
Yes, ma'am.
Because when we start talking about adultification of Black girls, And that's a word where Black women, Black girls are exposed to being an adult before their time. I didn't grow up knowing how to have fun because I was too busy taking the role of it as an adult.
Being a rescuer.
Being a rescuer.
Wow.
Even at that age, I was talking to adults about their issues. As
Wow.
a child, I remember at 10 years old, I used to take care of the whole household.
Mhm.
That's cooking and cleaning, taking care of my younger sister. Being an adult, way too young. There are so many Black girls that take on those responsibilities because that is something that we have been socialized to do.
Come on.
We've been
Expose it.
socialized.
Expose it.
We've been
Expose it.
exposed to that, where you take care of everybody else. It starts very young. And I've always been the rescuer. I would listen to my mother and father. I would be the mediator as a child. Well, Mama, he said this. Dad said this. Dad said, well, you tell her this. As a child, exposed to things way too early. So this is why it is so important for us to take care of ourselves. And you'll be surprised, even our young people nowadays have adultification. They're going through adultification.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
right
ma'am.
to this very day, because that is historical trauma. That is something that has been passed on starting from slavery.
Yes, ma'am. And I think it even intensified or grew stronger when crack came, because then you had parents that was on drugs, and then the child had to assume the role. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So yeah, yes, ma'am.
Well,
Absolutely.
COVID taught us that same thing, because parents they couldn't take the time off, and the kids was at home. So the expectation of the child was you take care of the house, feed.
Because the dad was out of the house. Remember that.
Right, because
just the mama trying to work 2 and 3 jobs.
Right, and so that left the oldest or the youngest or whatever child was in there to take care of the household and everything else, and make sure the youngest get on the computer to do their schoolwork, cook, clean, and make the whole shebang bang. All of that is still going on today. And back in the day, it was necessary because the family unit had to stick together. But I think it just went overboard as we continue on, because we say, yeah, we want our kids to stay young and all of this, but then at the same time, like you said, we bringing on adult behaviors and things upon them, and then turn around and say you acted too grown.
Yeah. What you sit up in grown folks conversations.
But I need you to go in the kitchen and cook that for me. So the conflict and the confusion that the child takes on today, and then to see them, I want to be like such and such as a child and looking like a grown person. So we send these kids. I wouldn't want to be a kid today for nothing in the world, because of the confusion that's going on.
And not even having a clarity of their role to be okay, to be a child now. Social media doesn't make it okay. I was sitting there with one of the grandbabies, and she watched this whole, what do they call it? Shein? Is that where they order clothes? And she sat there, and they're not the older women. These are kids that are selling the clothes for these brand, this Shein. This girl here couldn't have been no more than 14 years old, modeling clothes and things for a 14-year-old. You understand what I'm coming from when I say that? That just blew me away. Instead of you watching something about Black history, you're learning how to buy clothes, something that's not going to benefit, or help you down the road, and it's just amazing, the disconnect with that social media, I want to say, kind of causes to a certain degree.
It keeps us locked in.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you for taking your experience and what you went through He takes us through those difficult situations, pull us out on the other side for those of us who needs to hear it.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say a little bit more about my testimony because I want people to hear this. When I got married at 18. I was pregnant because that's how,
Hey,
that's
you
why.
right here. That's what my daddy said to me.
And then I had 2 more children. And then by the age of 22, I became a single parent. All I had was a high school diploma. My husband left me with 3 children, even though he said I wasn't capable mentally of taking care of 3 kids. But he left me, and I was living in housing projects at that particular time, on welfare. And I want you to see how God just works, because I went through abuse. I went through abuse, not only at home. At age 4 was my first time being molested. Then when I got married, I was abused as well. The last time that I was abused with my husband, I was pregnant with my 3rd child, and he beat me up because I was trying to go to church.
Wow.
And I didn't know how I was going to survive. I just didn't, because he just left me. I knew I didn't want to go home because home was not a safe place. My dad was an alcoholic. He was an alcoholic. He was also, I am a survivor of incest as well. I'm an incest survivor.
Wow.
So my dad and other people who molested me. But if it wasn't for God, just loving me and taking care of me in that time, like I said, I had a high school diploma. I'm now sitting here with 4 degrees. 4 degrees. At that particular time, I went to school at age 27, a true first-year student with no credits, and my 3 children. And if it wasn't for God who protected me, but the thing and I was working 3 jobs and going to school full-time. 3 jobs. I don't know where that strength came from. The only thing I can tell you is that I didn't want the same thing repeated for my children. I did not want that. I wanted them not to be an adult before
their time.
Right?
Come on.
I want them to be able to enjoy being a kid. All the things that I didn't have, I wanted them to enjoy. But here's the thing, as I was planning and doing all this stuff, I forgot about my health. My health as far as taking care of myself. It's good that I got a chance to do all that. I knew it was nothing but God has brought me to this point, but my health. And I truly believe some of the things that happened to me was for a reason, for me to learn, to grow, to empower myself, but also to tell others I am here because of the grace of God. And because I'm supposed to tell this story. I believe this. And I'm about to be 65 now.
To God be the glory.
And so God has protected me and preserved me. But he also taught me some lessons about boundaries. We need to learn them.
Yes,
There's certain things that we should say no to.
Yes, ma'am.
We should say no.
So with that being said, part 3, will that be the part about self-care?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, girl. We got it then. We logged in. Amen.
Yeah, and this is what this is leading up to.
I was gonna say you clued that up, part 3. That is
yes, that's the other part that I want to talk about, because that is so important. I can't tell you all this information and then not give you a solution.
That's right. That's right. That's
You
right.
know.
Once you've poured out now you enabled us to be filled up on what we need to do, what self-care looks like,
Yes.
and things of that
I
nature.
think we got a glimpse of it.
Yes.
Right
Yes.
there.
Yes.
Yeah, it tasted good too.
I know.
I know it. I
And
can't
it-
wait to get my whole plate. But what I do want to say is thank you for allowing us into your space, your testimony to strengthen us as a whole. That's why it says, "Don't forsake the gathering of the saints." Because Peter said, "You that you go through, know that you have brothers and sisters
Who gone?
who have gone through." And he said, "When he comes to sift you as wheat, when you return." Miss Joni, you came back. Amen.
Amen.
Grace and mercy. Amen. To strengthen your brothers and sisters.
That's
And
right.
thank you for the strength
Thank you.
from your testimony. Thank you for being a woman that's feel free enough and comfortable enough to expose yourself
Mhm.
to us and others. Just to eat from it.
Hey,
Amen.
I truly appreciate it
Yes.
because it takes you and other women like you to share what we have, what we've gone through, and to say you're not by yourself.
Absolutely.
We are not by ourselves. We are not an island unto our own.
All
There's
right, girl,
others.
close us out.
All righty. You mean to say I gotta say a prayer?
You can say a prayer. You can just say we'll stay tuned next week.
So may God keep everyone. Thanks everybody for joining. Oh, I get to do this.
Yes.
Oh, wow. And thanks everybody for joining us on this wonderful day. Ms. Joni, thank you. I mean, honestly, thank you from the bottom of our hearts, and I'm pretty sure everyone else feels the same. So we look forward to part 3 of the myth of a strong Black woman. May everyone who's listening have a blessed one, stay safe, and just know you are not by yourself.
To God be the glory. Thank you.